What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, Michelle, and Mike, and we are discussing Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And this movie was so emotional. It was so good. And there were so many unexpected things that happened in this film that just kind of threw me for a loop. But we all got to go see it together, which was a rare treat. But all of the Atlanta folks from the podcast, all of the Atlanta group from the podcast, we got to go see it together. We went to a screening that was hosted by the MCU ATL group, and we had on our all white. We had a good time. We were all emotional together. Anthony claims he didn't cry, but I think he might be lying.
Nope.
We cried together. We cried.
And on that note,
yeah, you should say that to the end. So, what was your initial reaction to the movie? And then we'll go into some detail.
Right after the movie, I was just like, that's my favorite movie, period. That's my favorite MCU movie, period. Like, bar none. Like, I was so impressed with everything that they said was going on behind the scenes, with everything, with Letitia not getting vaccinated and not being there for certain shoots. You couldn't tell because she was out. She was really good in this movie. Mm-hmm. And with them filming it during COVID and the things that they had to do, them having to change the whole script because Chad died. I mean, everything for the most part was really cohesive, and the movie was just really good. I mean, I still am getting emotional from the Marvel crawl that was silent, that had all of his roles and like certain of some of his lines going through it and stuff. And It's like I still get misty thinking about that. Like, ugh. I mean, but this movie was just outstanding. If it's not my favorite, it's probably solidly in my top 3 MCU movies of all time.
Okay. What about you, Ligginses?
You go.
You go.
No, you go.
Eeny, meeny,
okay,
miny.
So when they announced the movie and they didn't recast T'Challa, I had my reservations. Like, I was really like not happy about it because the plan to kill off T'Challa, the Black Panther, like this character that I grew up with, that I was in love with, that was like my favorite comic book character, period. I was not too thrilled, and I just was going into it. I wasn't, in the right space, but I was going to give it a chance. And at the end of the movie, all of my concerns and reservations withered into nothing. The movie was amazing, and I really appreciate what they did with it. The tribute to Chad was incredible, and I never had any like reservations about Letitia Wright, right?
Yeah,
I never had, because I've seen her in other things, and she's an amazing actress. So I didn't have any issues with her. Again, and the actor who played Namor, just freaking awesome.
He was phenomenal.
Like, he made the fucking movie. Between him and Queen Romunda, I'm just like, amazing. Oscars, please give them Oscars.
Yeah,
give them all.
Romunda definitely does. Angela Bassett deserves one from Romunda.
Yes,
like for real.
Oh, and the shout out to M'Baku. Why can't I think of his name right now?
Winston Duke.
Winston. Amazing. Like, he goes from this hard, gruff, and then he has these moments where he is so sensitive. Talking to Shuri and I and then the comedy, he was great. Like everything about the movie was really, really good.
Mhm.
Not my favorite movie, not top 5 MCU movie, but definitely one of the better ones.
Okay.
So
Michelle?
not in your top 5?
No.
Okay. So I have a ditto to everything. So it was full of heart.
Mhm.
And a lot of MCU movies don't really have a lot of heart sometimes. It's just, I know it's just a machine and we're pumping out these movies, but this was more of a drama. It had heart to it, dealing with the tribute to just the Namor and Shuri and what they were going through. It just had heart throughout it. So you can feel it just in your soul. I am one of the people who did not feel like Miss Wright should have been Black Panther. I was a little concerned about it. I was just concerned about just her carrying that space.
Mhm.
And because I know the space, her being a scientist and having that, liveliness and that free spirit, that's her. And to see her be Black Panther, I was like unsure of it. So Anthony has been hearing me say, I'm not too sure about this. I'm not too sure about this. But she pulled it off because it was full of heart. You can feel her emotions and how she put it into her being Black Panther.
Mhm.
So I got all of that. I got all the feels for this movie.
Okay.
Now, I can agree, it may not be top 5. I'm not quite sure if I will put this above the first Black Panther, but I'm not sure. No, I don't think it goes above the first Black Panther. Okay.
No, because I think for a lot of people, like Chadwick made it Black Panther, and his absence, even though yes, they did one hell of a job with the tributes.
Yeah.
And I say tributes plural because there were more than one in this film. But I still felt like his presence was there, but he wasn't there. And you could feel that through the movie.
Mhm.
Not that it was a bad thing, because I think if we had gone through the whole movie and been like, oh, we don't miss him, then that would have been something wrong. That would have been something weird.
disingenuous.
But
Right.
it was a great sequel,
Mhm.
especially with all the things you had to work with. So I would be amazed how the sequel would have been if he was alive. Like, could you have that heart between him and Namor dealing with conflict? I wonder.
I think you could have, because T'Challa definitely went through his own conflict. He went through his own guilt. And then if you think about it, if they had continued the story from the last movie, he probably would have been dealing with a lot of guilt regarding Killmonger.
Right. And they would have had to, sorry, spoiler, they would have had to kill his mom too. I mean, something else would have had to happen to push him over the edge like it did Shuri, I believe.
Well, I think
it would have been quite different.
It would have been different. I'm not sure.
Not have all the heart.
I'm not sure if they would have had to have killed anyone for him to get there, because if he had lived, Black Panther 2 would have picked up after the snap and after they all returned. So there would have been a little bit of him dealing with not having been there for 5 years, just kind of being absent. And then, with the big spoiler in the mid-credit scene, just knowing that he wasn't there for most of that. I think that would have been enough to kind of put him on that path.
I think it would have been an entirely different movie. I think a lot of things would have changed. So a whole lot of things would have changed in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think that Romunda necessarily had to die. I don't think that they would have needed to introduce Ironheart the way they did. I think that they would have gone more towards a more comic book relevant storyline,
mm-hmm.
as opposed to having to create one where Namor and Shuri had to interact.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree. I think it would have been almost the exact same movie. And the reason is they had things that they were already talking about putting in place with finding Riri was a result of going to be a result of the outreach program, which they have started. And also Namor was in the plan anyway. And I would have seen it like, okay, so Namor basically is making the same argument that Eric made. And he would have been like, okay, maybe I need to deal with this a little bit differently than I did with Eric. Because in the end, he ended up having to fight him anyway. So it probably would have been slightly different, but I really think that they would have gone in the same direction. They just had to change the script a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I was saying, because he would have still had the emotional baggage that I think Shuri is dealing with in this movie, but his would have been a little more different because he would have been thinking about his father. He would have been thinking about Killmonger and the fact that he had to kill him because of everything that went on. And then again, you're dealing with the aftermath of the snap and returning. That's a lot for someone to have to deal with. I mean, we see how Wanda handled it.
Right. Plus, she's dealing with the same thing that Chadwick would have been dealing with. T'Challa would have been dealing with. So hers is actually double, and we wouldn't have the seduction scene either. So
no, we wouldn't have. No,
I mean, you could have. It just would have been really awkward. Like,
what are you doing? Say something.
Why are you looking in my eyes like this?
Yeah, let's rule together.
No, I mean he still could have done that with Shuri, even if T'Challa was here. He could have been, he could have gone behind and tried to lure Shuri into that partnership behind T'Challa's back. I mean, there's so many ways.
Her. Yeah, he could have kidnapped her, and that would have been, let's work together.
Yeah,
Talk to your brother about us joining forces.
Because the decision that he would have had to, we're not going to dwell on this too long, but the decision he would have had to make was, do I need to end this like I did with Killmonger? Like, is this going to be one of those things where he has to make a decision? Okay, well, I got to kill Namor, or he's going to come for us. So he would have had sort of the same. It just would have been a different thought process for him as opposed to Shuri.
Right.
Like, I really can see how they took the script and said, we can write this for her and not necessarily have it, for Chadwick. So,
okay.
Because they had all these things that they already had in place that they were going to do. So they're not going to just scrap it all because Chadwick is gone. They just have to rewrite it.
Yeah. But he did say some ideas were. So what do you think about the movie?
I loved it. I thought that they perfectly captured everyone's grief in a way that was true to the story and true to the person they were honoring. The surprises in the movie were really surprising to me because they weren't things that I expected from the story, going in like, okay, so we're dealing with grief and kind of putting to rest one character, and then we have another major character die in the film, that is also part of the heart of the film. And I was just like, hold up, I was not expecting this. So I think they took some risks that paid off with the storyline. There were some things I think that they kind of kept away from to not tarnish the story that they were trying to tell. I think it was a very fitting tribute. Like I said, the surprises, we got a cameo in the film. We got a surprise at the end. And there were not even 2 cameos, but we had some characters that popped up that were part of the film that we did not see coming. And I don't know, I just think it all fit together very well. There are some things I do have questions about, and I have not seen it a second time. So, usually I watch it a second time and then I kind of see things that I missed the first time. Mike brought up a very interesting question earlier today in our group chat that we'll get to later on, but I do want to kind of go through and start talking about the movie and like very specific parts of the film. They started out the film with a cold open. which once I got the gist of what they were doing and the situation that they were playing out, I already started losing it at that point. So basically, they start the movie out. You hear Shuri praying to Bast, please allow me to save my brother's life. Help me to save my brother's life. And I sat there looking at the screen like, what are they doing? Because I thought that there might be some little bit of Chadwick in there when they went that direction. I didn't know if I was ready for that, but it wasn't that. She comes out into her lab and they're basically trying to recreate the heart-shaped plant.
herb.
Yeah, the heart-shaped herb that was destroyed in the last movie. And apparently T'Challa had some kind of illness that they did not disclose specifically what it was, but it was killing him. And it was killing him kind of quickly at this point. Like they had him on life support. His heart function was not that great. And she was just sitting there trying to do what she needed to do to recreate this herb so she could save her brother's life. And I forgot who was, I think it was Annika. Maybe it was Annika came up to her and was like, maybe you should go be with your brother. And she was like, no, I have to sit here and do this so I can save him. Like she was so focused on saving him that she missed her chance to be with him when he passed, because the Queen Mother comes in and you could tell from the look on her face, T'Challa has passed. He's gone. He's dead. And I wasn't expecting that in the film. You know, I had heard people talking about it in like previews and stuff. And they were saying that the film took place about a year and a half after T'Challa passed. Well, that was true, but they neglected to tell us about that first part.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, they just ripped the Band-Aid off. They didn't want to like take it off. So they're like,
what Band-Aid?
Whack. They ripped it. I mean, it's like that was like I was with you. Like as soon as they went into it, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. Oh, damn. Okay, cool.
That's literally what I said out loud. I said that in my seat. I said, oh, this is what we're doing. Oh, okay. Y'all could have warned us.
Like, dang. Like I was, and it's the urgency that Shuri had was just unnerving. Like, I mean, and shout out to Trevor Noah, who's the voice of her AI, and was like, you know, telling her it's like 25%, it's 28%. She's like, you'll have to print it. And it's like, and you could just see like the urgency, like how much pressure she put on herself, because she knows that she's one of the smartest people in the world, and she's one of the only people, if not the only person, that can save her brother. So she's taking all that responsibility to save the king of Wakanda on herself. And it's like she is just, and that pressure is immense, and you could feel how tense and how much pressure she had on herself. And it's just like, I could just feel, I felt so not uneasy or uncomfortable, I felt like so
helpless.
Like my heart was almost racing, like with her, like, oh my God, is she gonna be able to do this? I don't know if she can do this.
I know. I thought it's sad when you're sitting there thinking, okay, she has a chance. Will she be able to, beat the clock?
And then there's Romunda looking there like, it's too late. Like, ugh.
But in the back of your mind, she's not gonna make it, because you know how this is going, but you're just still hopeful.
Right.
Yeah, like it actually injected a little bit of hope for you. Like it's like maybe she can't save him, but maybe she can prolong him enough where she can figure out she can get it up to like 30% or 50%. Like maybe that 28% will give him another hour or two where she can figure out something else. But then it's like, you're like, okay, maybe that's going to happen. Then she turns around and it's like Romunda's like, he's gone with the ancestors. You're like, oh. And then that damn crawl.
And then we get the Marvel crawl. And I think it's the same Marvel crawl that they created after he passed, and they added it to Black Panther. But
it seemed like they changed a couple things, but yeah.
There was no sound. It was completely silent. And when I tell you, in the movie theater that we were in a theater that was pretty much, it was almost sold out. Like it was pretty much at capacity. Not a word. And that's the one thing I'm glad about this particular screening, because at other screenings, other opening nights, you do have people like us who, we consider ourselves like the diehard MCU fans. Like we're going in there, we're paying attention, and it's quiet. But you always have those fans who are down there talking, they're joking around. They don't give the films the reverence that they deserve. As I'm saying this as a diehard MCU fan. But this particular screening, silence. Like the only thing you could hear during that crawl was.
I'm sorry, that was me. I was sitting right behind that.
That was me. That was Michelle. That was Casey. That was the people down the road from us. Like we heard, ain't nobody paying no attention.
Stop, Ann. I saw you put your head down a little bit.
This is one instance where being hard is not whatever.
Not cool. Now we had the opportunity to see it again with our family the next night, and again, that theater holds a lot of people, and it was dead quiet in there.
Okay.
I mean, the whole entire movie, which is kind of odd.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody was getting up to go to the bathroom. Nobody was moving.
No.
And even the second night that we saw it, I mean, it was quiet. All you can hear again was.
Right. But I mean, and people reacted like in certain areas, in certain parts, like I feel like everybody had the same reaction. It's like you could hear everybody. We all reacted at the same time, but it might have been a little bit staggered. So you hear somebody gasp like, you hear all of that, and then you hear what the fuck? When Ross's ex-wife is revealed, and everybody was like, wait, what? So it was one of those surreal experiences where I think everybody was kind of in sync. But man, let me tell you, that Marvel crawl. And I don't think you ever realize how long that Marvel crawl is until you have to sit there and listen to it. I mean, watch it with no sound.
It went on.
And I was like, if they don't end this thing soon, I'm going to break before this film even starts. Then we have the funeral scene. Y'all, I was like, okay, so they're just going to rip our heart out for the whole first 10, 15 minutes. That way, maybe we won't have to feel anything for the rest of the film. Because that funeral scene, again, very beautiful way to pay homage to someone who was a leader of that cast, someone who was a leader of that nation, and to do it in a way that is respectful. It wasn't, I think sometimes when you have to incorporate a death into a storyline because of a person dying, I don't think it happens too often, because a lot of times they either kill the character off, or they just kind of sometimes they recast. But I don't think, sometimes that can be hit or miss. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can try to do the right thing, or you can try to do a good thing, and it may come off kind of eerie, kind of, I don't know if I'm feeling this.
Right. And one example I used was they did it perfectly was the Fast and Furious. And when Paul Walker died, instead of just, honestly, they should have just killed the character off. And that pushed their family on. But instead, they have dreamlike sequences. They had his brother kind of stand in for him at the end. And now every time we have a movie, the wife is involved and he's watching the kids.
Right.
Or his blue car is driving by. He's almost to dinner, everyone.
Yeah. The blue skyline pulled up. Was that the last one?
Yeah, I think it was the last.
No, the last one was he has the kids. He's on his way.
Someone was the one that he pulled up in the car.
Yeah, he pulled up in he pulled up in the car in the last one.
What? You saw that blue skyline pull up. I was like, wait a minute.
So it's
See
And I
that
compared it to
I do
that, and
agree
I'm
with
like,
you. Yeah,
oh, y'all
like
could have did that better.
yeah, like I think because of the way Fast and Furious is, it would have been more understandable for me as a fan. It would have been more acceptable to me for Brian's character to have been killed because of the nature of a lot of the conflicts that they have in the films. To have Brian, quote unquote, at home watching the kids while his wife is in danger, while his best friend is in danger, while his crew is in danger, that has never sit right with me because I don't feel like Brian would do that. So I get what you're saying. And that could have gone the same way with this series or this film. If I think if they had continued with the character and the character wasn't a great or the actor wasn't a great fit, or it just I don't know. I feel like I was one of the people at the very beginning who was like, no, don't recast. He is T'Challa. I still feel that in a lot of ways. But I think over the last year, I kind of have straddled the fence because I feel like he loved that character so much and he understood how important that character was that he would have been okay with it being recast. I also feel like maybe that could have been part of his intent career-wise in not revealing that he was sick to begin with. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's just kind of one of those weird things that it's like I could see it working either way. But since they decided to go in this direction, what they did to honor him and to honor the character, I think they did really well. And I know that had to have been hard because, he's just an actor to us. He's not really a tangible thing. I've never met him in person. I've never seen him in person. I didn't know him. I didn't know the things that made him laugh and the things, I didn't know his work ethic as far as watching him work. That's something I'm very removed from. But to be part of that cast, to be so close to him, and to have to literally sit here and grieve him and funeralize him again, I can't even imagine what that was like. But they did it, and they did it in such a way that it was beautiful, it was heartfelt, it was emotional, and it was respectful.
Yes, very.
And see, I see, I understand sort of, I get both sides. I fall in the camp of they should have recast it, blah, 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 blah. But I think at the end of the day, at the end of the movie, I see, okay, you guys got, I see what you're doing because it's a way to recast it without actually recasting it.
Right. And I love it.
And that was when I was okay. I'm on board with it. Because this way you can, we'll talk about how it happens, but you can do it this way and not have to have the issue of
comparison
of people making comparisons because that's ultimately what you end up having. Because the character is huge, T'Challa is huge, and it was a cultural thing. It wasn't just that it was a great MCU movie; it was a cultural experience. It was like a shift in the paradigm of superheroes, especially for Black people all over the world, and the significance of what he did and what they accomplished with the actor and the character. Okay, I understand he passed, and there's no possible way that anyone can carry on in the same way. It would be sort of unfair to that actor to try to, but because everyone's gonna be like, oh, but he's not Chadwick, he's not my Black Panther, blah. We would have had to go through all that. But the way they ended it, you realize, okay, we can move forward and we can get another Black Panther.
And there were also a lot of arguments where they're like, well, you see, they always recast Batman. Why can't they recast T'Challa? Okay, Do you see how many Batman we have? Do you see how much of a disparity you have as far as good Batman and bad Batman? Do you see how, I mean, that shit gets confusing after a while. And how many times are you gonna kill his damn parents? How many times are we gonna go through T'Challa's dad dying? How many times are we gonna go through Killmonger? I mean, how many times are we gonna tell? Are you gonna retell a story, or are you just gonna start over from scratch? It's like there's a whole lot of things that go into that. It's like you can't just be like recast them. It's like you kind of have to figure out how you're going to recast them and how the story's going to go along. Are you going to recap anything? Like, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. I think they did the right thing, and technically they did recast T'Challa, but it's not going to happen for another 7 or 8 years. But I mean, he's kind of been recast.
Yeah, kind of, sort of. But I do want to say this quickly too, since you mentioned Batman. The geek world lost a huge voice of the Batman character in Kevin Conroy this past week. So we just want to say, condolences to his family and his many, many fans. I have actually never met him. I know he's been at conventions. I think up until even like a few weeks ago, he was still on the convention circuit because he wanted to be there for his fans. What you say, Mike?
Was he at Dragon Con?
I believe he was. I don't know if he was there this year.
It wasn't this year, but
okay,
it's been.
I know he's been there. I just wondered if he was there this year.
He wasn't there.
I would have been sick. I've been like, oh.
Yeah. But it's hard being the age that we are, because we are getting to the point where we're starting to lose a lot of the people that we grew up with. I mean, Kevin, he was the voice of Batman for 30 years in the animated series. And he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was also in the Batwoman series. I do remember him being in one of the Arrowverse crossovers. So,
he was.
Yeah. So just huge loss. So I just wanted to mention that since you brought up Batman. But
yeah, I mean, really, he was arguably one of the best, like top 2, top 3 Batman ever.
He was number 1.
Yeah, everybody has said unequivocally.
I'll give you that.
Number one.
I'll 100% give you that. He was number 1 because he was outstanding, and you never saw his face, but he was like his voice embodied how Batman is. He embodied Batman. So it's like, I'll give you he's number 1. So absolutely.
That's all I've seen. Like, everybody is talking about, like, there is no anybody above him. Like, no, there isn't. So anyway, let's get back to Black Panther. Again, because I've only seen this once, I don't remember a lot of the order that things happen. So I don't know if we want to actually like just break down the movie or just talk about the things that, just kind of talk about the things that happen and how we feel about it. But yeah, Mike.
Okay, let me go ahead and ask
Did he really just raise his hand?
Hey, we're back to old school. That's what we used to do.
Okay, well, this is true. Okay. This is true.
All right, so I was talking to a couple of other geeks online about this. Shout out to Mark Leary. I was talking to him and Raphael about it. And Mark brought up a really good point. That's a question I asked in our chat. Where were the other Avengers at T'Challa's funeral?
Oh, Anthony. Okay, now Anthony has his hand up. Yes, Anthony. I feel like I'm a teacher now. Michelle, this is supposed to be your role. You're the teacher.
All right, I don't have a definitive answer.
Yes, you do. You have a theory.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Okay, so first, the Wakandans are very private people.
Mm-hmm.
That's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
They're very, very private.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, they don't really have a connection to the rest of the MCU, like other than maybe Bucky. And for
Bucky
that was just a handful of people in that case.
Yeah, I feel like Bucky should have been there. If anybody from the Avengers, I feel like Bucky probably should have been there.
Yeah, but again, they're very private. Number 2, he didn't tell anyone he was sick until the last possible minute. So in them as a people dealing with their grief, they're not going to think about people who are not there.
Right.
You know, they're not going to think about telling anyone. To be honest, it probably no one outside of Wakanda knew until after he was dead that he was dead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Probably after the funeral.
Right. I agree.
Before any of that happened, because that's just, they are very private people. And like, again, they don't really have a connection to anyone outside of, like I said, Bucky. And again, that's
and maybe Ross, and even Ross wasn't there.
No.
So
well, Ross, yeah, that's Shuri's buddy. Really,
yeah.
You know, but
he would have paid his respect.
I mean, Bucky's AO's buddy.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, it's one of those things where they're not family.
Yeah.
And they're not Wakandans. So they're not going to invite a colonizer there to mourn their king. That's,
I don't even know if I would look at it in that sense. I'm just when
saying,
it comes to
outside of their family,
they're
not going to have anyone else there.
I feel like when you think Avengers, you think chaos, you think I don't even want to know if I want to say well exposed, but it's like the Avengers are such a huge thing in the outside world. And I feel like for their characters to be a part of that celebration, I personally feel like it would have been a distraction. You know what I'm saying? Because it would have been more about the fact that the Avengers were there instead of why they were there. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that makes sense.
I don't even know if that would have mattered, because they would have been there and no one would have paid them any mind. Like, they're huge outside of Wakanda, but it's not like Wakanda's going to let everyone come in and everyone's going to be distracted by the Avengers. The Wakandans there are not going to be distracted by the Avengers.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be a distraction for them. It will be a distraction for us as the viewers watching the show, because we'll be, there's, Bucky and there's Sam and etc. But for the Wakandans, that wouldn't be a thing.
So this is what happened. I must have missed it when y'all closed your eyes for a second to wipe.
Okay, hold on. You have to say I have a theory if it's a theory.
Okay, I have a theory. But it happened. I know it happened. Okay, so of course, in different cultures we have multiple memorial services. This one was family. So we saw the family on film. Okay. But remember, there was a year difference later, so we didn't see what happened in that year. Well, they actually had a memorial in the States with the Avengers, because Captain America 2.0 was there.
Okay.
Bucky was there.
Sam was there.
That's Captain America 2.0.
We're following. That's fine.
I was thinking,
keep going, Michelle. We got you. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
We got you.
Well, he could have invited old Cap, but old Cap didn't know Black Panther.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Not old Cap. I wasn't thinking old Cap. I was thinking Isaiah. So
okay.
No, that's what I was thinking of. So everyone showed up except for the Hulk, and of course Black Widow, and of course Tony. So they had a little memorial in the States, and that's how you have to think about that. Okay. So they invited Shuri to come over, and they, gave a little gift. Thank you for all your brother did for us. Ross was there.
I got you. Okay. Funeral, memorial service, wake. Okay, repass. I got you.
But the one we saw was purely family, and out of respect, there was no visitors. The second memorial was visitors, and even public people came up and laid flowers and things like that.
I could understand. And, I think too, it probably makes a difference, like how long after Thanos' defeat this happened, because he doesn't have the heart-shaped herb to help with his strength. This could have been something that happened to him as a result of the snap, him being sick. It could have happened, immediately after all of this. I mean, everybody was dealing with their things in different ways. And this could have been something that happened to him. So I kind of jump on your little theory, because it's like, okay, if this happened maybe within the first few months, first year after Thanos, maybe they had a public memorial and honored all of them. They could have done that. So, okay. But yeah, but I did think once Mike brought it up, I was like, that would be kind of weird that nobody showed up, or at least, you know, like I said, at least Bucky, because Bucky owes a lot of who he is now.
Bucky literally owes
to T'Challa, to Shuri, to Io. They helped him recover. Right. So I would think that he, at the very least, would be there, even if nobody else showed up.
Right, but not if they don't invite outsiders.
That's true.
Because to me, this seems like this is more of a private community thing. And the difference between Tony had them all there, but that was Tony's family. That was his only family.
Yeah. T'Challa was still technically kind of new to the whole group. Because he was just introduced in Civil War, and he was an enemy then.
Yeah, but he has his own huge family though. So, you know, when you have big families, sometimes you have different, especially if you're out of the States.
Yeah.
And plus,
I just had a coworker that had a funeral. Her grandmother died. They had a funeral overseas, and then they had a memorial at home.
Okay, I like that theory.
Plus, the Avengers did bring all of Thanos' henchmen and all of his stuff to Wakanda and like killed a lot of people. So I guess they probably be like, "No, man, y'all keep all that shit over there." No.
Again, what did I say? Chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I can see that. Those are really good points. Okay. I can see that. But it's just I just kind of thought about it, but that actually makes sense. Cool.
Okay. So let's talk about the introduction of Namor and his people.
Wait. Can we do the UN part first?
Can we do the who?
The 1 year later part, right after the funeral, where Romunda's at the UN.
Oh.
Coming in like a boss.
Okay.
Her speech with
where it said 1 year later, Romunda's walking before the United Nations.
Oh,
and
yes.
They're asking her about like that part. That's one of my favorite parts of the movie. That whole sequence was out fucking standing. I mean, she was just sitting there nice and calm, and France was over there cussing out like, you need to give us the Vibranium. You need to share the Vibranium with us. Where's the Vibranium? And like poor Toby Ziegler over there, like, you have to share. Toby Ziegler. And then Ramonda's like, look, I ain't gotta share shit with y'all. Y'all probably at this moment over there trying to steal it, and then you oh my god.
She said two important things. She was like, y'all spend all this time worried about us. Well, we worried about y'all. That's why we don't share the stuff with y'all, because y'all some freaking crazy nut people who will blow shit up. And the second thing is, y'all act like we can't defend ourselves. Y'all better recognize.
Excuse me, we hear the whispers in the dark.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, we know what y'all are saying.
We're in shambles now because we don't have our king.
Our Black Panther.
Let me tell you,
they found
like you said, she was sitting there so calm, and she started talking, and I literally could hear the neck roll because she was reading them right and left. She was like, oh, y'all think we owe you something? She was like, okay, so let me tell y'all what's going on. We know that y'all have been working together to try to steal our vibranium. As a matter of fact, hey, why don't you bring them motherfuckers in? Because we caught all of your people who were trying to break in and steal our vibranium, and it is due to my mercy that they are alive. I was like,
this other thing, because Okoye said kneel, but she didn't say it in French. She said it in Wakandan.
And they understood. They went straight down to their knee. And then she said, "Je vous en prie." I was like, damn. It's like the French representative was just like, shit.
Right.
Oh, and she was like, oh yeah, y'all are gonna get evidence of this incursion on your mobile devices.
And everybody's stuff started lighting up.
Started going off.
Oh my god, that reminded me of the What If with Killmonger, where he's like, I have receipts. And then he like pulled the stuff up about about what's his name. And that seriously was one of my favorite parts of the movie. The first time we got to see Michaela Cole in her role, like with her daggers.
Yeah, because when the French soldiers were in the outreach center in Mali, and he was like, they were like, "Oh, show us where do you keep your vibranium tools?" And they open the door and you hear the chuk, 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 chuk. Oh, they're about to get their asses handed to them.
And how about Okoye spinning her? They were shooting at Okoye with automatic rifles.
Excuse me. Let me interrupt you. Your sentence should have just stopped when you said, "How about Okoye?" That should have been the end of the sentence. Period.
Like they're shooting at her with automatic rifles, and she's spinning her spear and deflecting everything shot at her. I'm like, yeah.
No, how about her and what's her name having a casual conversation about the daggers?
Right.
She's like, why are you using those? She's like, oh, Shuri gave them to me. I love them. And she's like, no, we use a spear. And I was like, wow, they're just chit-chatting away about this. And they're beating like poor motherfuckers. Side note, the Dora Milaje are like one of the strongest fighting forces in the world. They make up almost, I want to say, a little over half of Wakanda's military might is mostly the Dora Milaje, and they're just badasses.
Yeah.
In the comic books, no one fucks with them. Period.
Right.
Yeah, and in the MCU, the people that fuck with them get fucked with.
They fuck with them. They find out. The point's
skipping ahead, when Okoye is fighting the what is it?
The warrior.
No, when she was fighting 3 of them by herself.
Yes.
Held her own.
Okay.
Yes, she did.
Okay, so we already just because you brought that up, we are not going in order. We just gonna talk.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that fight. Because again, this is the thing, and this is okay. I'm gonna tie that into something else that happened in the film when the Queen Mother stripped Okoye of her rank and her position because Shuri was quote unquote captured. You know, at that point, she didn't know that Shuri was the one who said, take me to your leader, that sort of stuff. But when she stripped Okoye of that and basically blamed her for the fact that Shuri was gone, and Okoye was trying to tell her, look, I killed 3 of them and they got back up like nothing happened. And she still stripped her of it. I was pissed off because I was like, these are super powered beings. Okoye took on 3 of them by herself and held her own against people who are basically enhanced beings. Do you realize what kind of strength, skill, determination, and motherfucking loyalty she has to have in order to do that? She could have at any time tucked tail and ran. You are dealing with these things. They are flying. They are doing all sorts of things. When he pulled her into that pole, I thought her arm was about to rip off.
Yeah, she stood toe to toe with arguably one of the strongest warriors. One of the strongest warriors in that force outside of Namor. Like
I thought she got knocked the fuck out. Like, because he just grabbed her spear and baseballed her into his spear. I was like, oh.
And she had Namora got up.
Yeah, yes. Had Namora not through
that. She popped it back in place.
Had Namora not through that bomb, she probably would have killed that mother.
Right.
She would have kept going. She would have kept going.
Right. And that's the thing. Okoye.
Okay, let's
Okoye.
Right. And first of all, I did not agree with Queen Mother. I was at that point, I was crying too. Let her keep her job. Let her keep her job. Second of all, you bring up some old shit. Now, okay, I'm sorry that my husband did the wrong thing. And y'all put him in prison. Y'all let him have visitors. I'm going to visit him.
What was
I'm
it
so
the
sorry he
elder
didn't die.
said? She said Okoye put a knife to her own husband out of her loyalty to Wakanda.
And then her same loyalty, yes, she stood by Killmonger because he actually did what he was supposed to do to take over the throne. He didn't do it illegally.
Yep. But I will say this too, as much as I love Queen Romunda,
she was wrong.
I disagree with her a lot in this film. Like a lot of the decisions that she was making, I felt she was making based on emotion. She was making based on anger. And a lot of the decisions, instead of just listening. Now I understand Namor took you, he surprised you when he got through the barrier and he was in the waters in Wakanda. I understand that threw you off. But instead of automatically looking at him as an enemy, because believe the way that he snuck in there, if he wanted to kill y'all, he could have. If he wanted to destroy Wakanda at that point, he could have.
Mm-hmm.
She could have taken a more diplomatic approach and tried to listen to what he was going to say. And I don't know, maybe if people had listened to him, they might have been able to actually talk him down. Maybe not. But you see with the way that he interacted with Shuri, this is not one of those guys who is just like overly maniacal. He's not one of those that's just like, oh, I'm going to kill, I'm going to destroy this and the other. He had a valid reason for doing the things that he did or wanting to do the things that he did. He's trying to protect his people.
That's it.
And y'all didn't contribute it, even though she didn't realize she did it. Riri Williams built a project. She built a school project within a couple of months that was capable of detecting vibranium even in the smallest amounts. And the government, of course, came in, took this, and started using it for their own advantage.
Actually, her professor sold it to the government.
So her professor sold something that didn't even belong to him. She should have got that money. That's a whole other conversation.
She's like, oh, you can even make a machine to find vibranium. Oh, I can. Oh, really? Prove it. Yeah. And she does it. And what do? You turn around and sell it.
Yeah, let me send this off to get tested.
First of all, that's why
she made it in a garage
again,
with a box of scraps.
That's why scraps. As an educator, you know the potential of your students. He knew she could do it. That's why you challenged her. Mm-hmm. He had a timeline and he needed to make some money.
This is the same thing that Captain Pike did to Kirk. I challenge you to do better.
That is true. You know, the other thing I was thinking about, even though we have to re-record this episode, Real Genius.
Yeah, exactly.
Brought that to mind.
A whole Real Genius.
Yeah.
It really is.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah. So the government has taken this machine. They are in the ocean. They have found some vibranium, and they found it because the machine was drilling into the ocean floor and broke its drill bits. And then all of a sudden, you get people starting to get snatched out the water. And then up on the boat, you have people hearing this weird singing noise, and they're getting hypnotized. They're starting to just kamikaze walk off the ship. I said, oh, so we bringing some sirens into this shit. Oh, okay.
Right. And shout out to Lake Bell. So when I saw her, I'm like, ooh, what part she playing? Oh, never mind. She don't have a part.
Yeah, never mind. She just crashed. Grand opening, grand closing. All right, see you later.
Before we go on, I do want to. I have another idea, not
theory.
A theory.
Theory?
There's nothing wrong with the word theory, Anthony. You have to get over your WandaVision hurt. You need to heal.
Haven't you learned nothing?
I refuse.
From Phase 4. You've learned nothing from Phase 4.
No,
Phase
I
4 has been all
refuse.
about getting over things and healing and moving on. You've learned nothing, Anthony. You've learned nothing.
How's that Mephisto thing working out for you?
He's still confirmed. He is 100% still confirmed. See? You see that, Anthony? I've healed, I've moved on, and I'm still going forward. That's what Phase 4 is about. Healing and moving forward, and you have not done that yet. I'm very disappointed.
And I'm not. As I was saying, the idea that I have about it's merely an observation of Namor.
Mm-hmm.
He's old. Like he's like 500 years old, I feel like.
Yeah, he's old as fuck.
And
I mean, he was there when the conquistadors, like he was young when the conquistadors gave smallpox to everybody.
Where was he? Where was he when old boy in the Eternals hypnotized that whole group of people and marched them off? Anyway, you remember in Eternals? Yeah.
Druid.
Yeah, what was he when that happened? But that's
but we can't do that because we had all questions about the Eternals. Like, where were the Eternals when Thanos was here? Where were the Eternals when this was going on and when that was going on? Where were they when
where was Steve Rogers when the Civil Rights Act was when the Civil Rights riots were going on? When all black people getting hung? Where was Steve Rogers, huh?
Well, where's
Captain America now? Huh?
He was frozen.
He was frozen.
He was frozen.
He had a valid excuse.
But yeah, he they were probably in the water.
He's set in his ways, and his people treat him like a god. So I kind of don't know if a diplomatic solution would have worked with him, though she should have tried. But I don't think it would have really worked with him because his mindset is a little bit off. And if you know him from the comic book, he's not the most stable person there is at all. And so and that's what I liked about Tenoch Huerta. I think his name is Tenoch Huerta. His ability to go from being really charming to being really maniacal to being really sweet and kind and then also being really crazy.
Let me tell you
all those things. But he refers to everyone as children because everyone is like younger than him. So they're all his children. He's looking at Queen Romunda like she's a baby. Really. Yeah. They have to listen to him.
Yeah.
Because he can't think any other way.
Yeah. And he's not going to repeat himself either.
No,
Clearly. No. Not getting a warning. He says what he says. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah. Didn't see that coming though, for real.
So.
But anyway,
and was not like sympathetic or whatever. He's like,
no,
oh, y'all Mourning dead. You got a week. I'll be back to wipe you all off the face of the earth.
Because because he said what he said. Just like the Queen don't want to be repeated either. He said what he said, and that's why I love the actor who played him, because one, he was just so charming. Like literally that was a seduction of we should be partners in crime. And then when I
was sitting there like,
are they getting together? Like, take the bracelet.
I didn't even think
my land.
I didn't even think about that because
no, it was just how, and that's just could be how he just talks to everyone. Mm-hmm. It was just very charming.
Yes.
Like,
because I was in the movie theater like,
why the hell you giving her a bracelet that your mama gave you? I don't think so. You don't know her for that long.
Well, you know what? I was wondering if at first when he did that, I thought that the bracelet had some kind of special power. Like there was something like, I don't know if it was her having the bracelet would have given them easier access into Wakanda. I really thought he was giving it to her for more
nefarious reasons.
Yes, more nefarious reasons.
No, he was just he was just being kind and like we should our lands are alike. You're the not the queen yet, but you're the princess of your land.
And she's gonna be queen because he was already gonna kill Wakanda.
No, but you know what? I don't think that was. I don't really think that he was gonna do that. What pissed him off was Romunda distracted him while Nakia was going to get her.
Yes.
And I think if Nakia had left with Shuri and that was it, he might not have come for them with the vengeance that he did, but the fact that they shot 2 of his people and one of them died, that was the part where he was like, okay, you know what? Gloves off. I'm about to fuck y'all up.
But he also said to the queen, don't come and try to rescue her. I want to see no Wakandans in the ocean. And what happened? A Wakanda came in the ocean, took the scientists.
But the bracelet was a very significant thing for him to do.
Yeah, it was.
He really wanted her on his side to do this with him.
This is the first time he's talking to an outsider.
This is the first time he brought an outsider to this capital, like ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's why I was feeling like he's trying to make a connection.
Yeah. As somebody who has made a very bad ship as far as how I shipped what's the name in freaking Shadow and Bone.
I knew that's where he was going.
Turned out to be the same damn thing. I've given up shipping people, but I literally was like, I was looking at him like, is he trying to spit game at her? Like, why is he like? Why they got him like? He's like looking her up and down and like sit next to her and like he's like, yeah, you know. I mean, it's like he took her down to Tolakan and was like showing her around. He's like, yeah, I made this son. These are my people. You know, like, yeah, say hi to the kids. Yeah, the kids are cute. Yeah, come on over here. Let me show you this. You know, hey, this is all mine, baby. Yeah, you know, it's like we should be
easily could have shipped them. I could have, because I don't. Yeah, he's hundreds of years old, but you know, we've had this conversation before. What do you do when you're hundreds of years old and you don't really have any peers in your age group? Are you really just supposed to be alone for the rest of your life? Like,
it doesn't change.
I'm just saying.
You're supposed to not think about it. Like, don't think.
Yeah, you just don't think about it. Just go for it.
I mean, she's an adult. He's an adult. If they want to, then let them. But
like, hey, how was Marie Antoinette?
But you know, he is charming, and I really felt like he could have been. He's one of those characters. I feel like he didn't have to be evil. Like he could have really just went up to the surface world and be like, okay, look, let me give y'all an example of what I can do if y'all don't stop fucking with us. He could have made a small example and been done. He could have scared the humans off enough that they were like, okay, you know what? We're going to back off. Because yes, even though those soldiers tried to get at the Vibranium stores, they did go to an outpost. Notice they didn't bring their asses to Wakanda. They knew better than to do that. I think if Namor would have had kind of sort of the same approach, he might have been able to scare some of them off and they could have left them alone. But I think too, I understand that he's like, okay, you know, now that they know that this might be there, if they come and find us, then they're going to destroy us. So I understand his point of view. But I think for him to go from charming to, yes, let's partner up and kill all of the humans and it just be us, I was like, damn, that went from 0 to 60 real fast.
Yeah.
His childhood memory is seeing his people being wiped out by humans. And like that is like the last interaction he actually had with humans. So no, he doesn't really think highly of the surface people at all.
And it's one thing we learned about him. He doesn't do anything halfway. Like he goes full out with everything he does.
Yeah.
Like he's gonna invade you. He's gonna invade you hard. He's gonna come after you. He's gonna come after you hard. He's not just gonna maim you. He's gonna try to kill you. He's not gonna just try to knock a building down. He's gonna knock down everything. He's not just going to try to intimidate the queen. He's going to try to kill the queen. He's not half-assing anything. He's going full the fuck out. And it's like that.
I'll say, but Romunda did make a reasonable compromise. We'll just keep Riri in Wakanda, and she won't ever build another one again. He's like, nah, that's not good enough. Okay, dude, what you really want? Because he
wanted Riri dead. Period.
That was a pretty good compromise, though.
I think so too. But again, that's why I said he had gone past that point of being charming and being reasonable. Like, your first thought is, oh, she created this machine, so we're gonna kill her. How about go talk to her and be like, yo, so this is what this machine does. And it was obvious that she had no clue that her machine was even out there doing that kind of stuff. So if you see that she's like, oh, hold up, I did not know this was going on, you probably could have sat and talked to her and be like, okay, so this is what's happening. This is what we need to not happen. So I need you to not do this again, or else this will happen to you. They could have shown her what happened on the ship with the soldiers, you know, walking off or whatever. They could have lightly threatened her, but to go from, oh, this is the person who built the machine, okay, she has to die. Like, dude, give her the benefit of a doubt. And I understand what you're saying about how his only interaction with humans was seeing them, you know, as slave owners, you know, taking people who looked like him and his mother's ancestors and kind of enslaving them and mistreating them and all this other stuff. I understand that, but also that was 500 years ago. Give people the benefit of the doubt that maybe some of us are not monsters. You know, it's just kind of like, don't just lump everybody in with these little assholes that you encountered 500 years ago. Yes, there are still some assholes here on this earth and in this day and age, but it was obvious Riri Williams was not one of them. Shuri was not one of them. Queen Romunda, she might have been a little bit of an asshole, but you know what? She's also the queen of the country. She kind of has to be in some sense, you know? But I don't know. I just feel like his character, as charismatic as he was and had as brilliantly as he was, you know, he was portrayed, that character is just like, he's one of those characters where it's like, okay, well, you know, this is where the shit hits the fan, and what are you going to do? Because we, you know, you look at him and you look at his people, you already see they have the strength. They have the stealth.
They have the numbers.
They have the numbers. They have the skills. And they have the determination. Once they made up their mind, or once he was like, yeah, you know what, kill all of them. Oh, this is what we're doing. I mean, even in when M'Baku was getting into that fight, as big as he is and as strong as he is, they threw him around like a fucking rag doll. I was like, he was even like,
when they broke his chest plate. Like I thought M'Baku was dead.
I did too. I did too.
Did he just put his fist through his chest? Like, holy shit. And M'Baku sat up, he was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? What? Like, holy shit.
I felt that. I was like, but yeah, I thought he was dead. And I was like, are they really about to kill M'Baku in this movie? I thought I was like, I'm about to riot. And then we get the scene where the palace gets flooded. Riri starts sinking. The queen goes to save her. And you see her struggling, trying to get them up. And I was just like, And then I thought about it. I was like, they're not about to kill them because Riri is going to have her own show. They can't kill her. And of course, I'm sitting here thinking there's no way they would kill Romunda. T'Chaka is already gone. T'Challa is gone. Romunda, they wouldn't do that. I forgot what I was watching, obviously.
I did too.
Because when Okoye and them broke it, when they got into the room and she is face down in the water, I was like, oh, okay, they finna save her. They finna do something. They're about to save her. And I'm just sitting there looking like, okay, any moment now, you can start breathing now. And then when Riri started, I was like, okay, so the queen has to be okay. And then I looked at Okoye's face and I was like, oh, y'all finna do this shit. Y'all gonna make it so that Okoye has no closure with the queen. She just been dismissed and left out in the cold. And now the one person whose forgiveness you wanted, she is gone. I was like, y'all dirty as fuck doing that.
Yeah. Shout out to Angela Bassett for being like as fit as a 20-year-old woman. Like, golly, ma'am, you're damn near 70.
When
like,
she came
what
in,
the hell?
When she came into the UN, I was like, she could be Dora Milaje and kick somebody's ass.
Yeah, I thought. See, again, this goes back to the what if, the Killmonger what if. I thought she was getting ready to have a spear and be like, for T'Challa, and like start regulating.
I kind of wanted that scene. I was like, I just want to see her like fight.
Yeah,
but it wasn't meant to be. It wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, so we're gonna circle back because there's some other things that I want to talk about that happened earlier in the movie. So when they finally do meet Riri Williams, first of all, perfect.
I cannot wait. I cannot fucking wait for her show.
Whoever is doing the casting at Marvel, and specifically whoever is casting these phenomenal young people, give them a raise.
They spot on. Mm-hmm. Spot the fuck on.
Because she was perfect. She was perfect. She was so when we're introduced to her character, she's walking on the grounds of MIT. She approaches this white boy. She takes his phone. She turns around and she was like, "You're late." And he was like, "Oh, I was going to send it to you, blah, blah, blah. 800, right?" She was like, "That was yesterday's price. It's a band now." She did his homework and she charged him $800, but because he didn't pay, she ended up charging him another $1,000. And he sat there and he paid it. He was like, "Well, you know, anybody can do such, or whatever it was." He said to her, she was like, "What was your grade again?" Sent. Here you go. It's been sent. And she just turned around and walked off. And I was like, I like her.
I can't wait.
I like her.
Wait.
Oh, but then to see her be that badass, and then when she meets Shuri and she sees Shuri, she's like, "Oh my!" She had like a total fangirl moment. And then when Okoye comes in, they're like, "Oh, you need to come to Wakanda." She's like, "Hold up, no. I can't go to Wakanda." She pulled a Peter. She was like, I can't go to Wakanda. I have a class in 20 minutes. I was like, What is it with y'all?
Wait, first she was like, "Oh, am I being recruited?" She went from "am I being recruited" to "oh wait, no.
I got a class in 15 minutes.
There you go.
Oh my God.
And because of the sadness that's kind of over the film, she brought a lot of light to it. And I like MCU have issues with throwing just humor for humor's sake, but I like that she brought the humor, and it was lighthearted humor, and it's just normal teenage humor. Like,
I like the humor for humor's sake. I like the humor in the MCU.
I do, but not this movie wouldn't have been the one to do it. That's what I'm
right. Okay, I get what you.
This movie wouldn't have been the one that we're gonna have screaming goats. Like that wouldn't have, we just can't do things like that with this movie. But the lighthearted humor. Do you
see Anthony's face while you mentioned the screaming goat?
He's like, "Yeah, please don't talk about those."
But it was just so perfect, especially when they got kidnapped. And she's like, "Wait a second, now this is the time we don't have a Black Panther."
No. Her and Okoye in her room, and she was like, "I'm not going to do your ashy head." And Okoye turned around, and was like, looked at Shuri. She's like, "I thought you said my makeup was good." He's like, "It's fine. It's fine."
Or when the server brought her the outfit and was like, "Oh, royalty have to dress like royalty here." And then she's like, "Wait, that's some old villain stuff."
Yeah, she was funny. I loved her character. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think. Oh, okay. Big reveal number one. So once they are trying to figure out about the Vibranium machine, Shuri and Romunda, they're trying to figure out, where this machine came from and who created it. So Okoye and Shuri, they go to find, as Shuri says, her favorite colonizer. They go and find Everett Ross, and he's the one that gives them the information as far as who built it. And he's giving this to them. This is classified information. He's not supposed to be giving it to them, but he gives it to them because, as he says, T'Challa and Shuri saved his life, and he owes them. So then we see a scene where they're I forgot, what was it? Was it after they came after Riri? Is that where we first see Val? When they're
yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was on the bridge.
On the bridge. You're right.
I can jump on your Peloton.
So they're investigating this fight on the bridge. This is after Okoye and Namor and all of them get to fighting. And while Okoye is knocked out, or while she has been thrown into the river, Shuri tells them to take her to Namor. So when Okoye comes up, Shuri's gone, the warriors are gone. So by the time the CIA gets there and Ross gets there, here comes the so-called director of the CIA, and it's Countess Valentina, whatever. I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And I'm sitting here looking like, we really got to see her again. I was one step away from saying, if John Walker shows up in this thing, I'm gonna be mad.
Right.
But she shows up. She starts talking to Ross. And her tone is simultaneously dismissive and flirtatious. And it's a weird vibe. Like, what was the line that she said, Michelle? Something about, oh yeah, I can just come over to your house. I'll take a ride on your Peloton or something.
No, I can come over and jump on your Pelotons.
Yeah. It's somebody jumping on this Peloton.
Right. So they're in the car. He's giving her a ride back to Langley, I guess it was. Yeah. And they're having a conversation, and she's like, yeah, so this seems like the kind of thing that your friends do, because of course they're thinking that it's the Wakandans because there's vibranium involved, because they don't know about Namor and his people yet. They don't know about these other people who have vibranium in their land existence, whatever you want to call it. So she's sitting there talking to him, trying to get him to spill like some secrets of the Wakandans, and he's not saying anything. So they have this conversation, and before she gets out the car, she says, oh yeah, and I need to apologize to you for some things that I said when we were married.
She said that on the way when she was like, can I get a ride back to work?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was taking her back to Langley.
Yeah.
And she said that, and it was like, it was like, that's who the ex-wife is? Like, I'm sitting here trying to figure this out. Like, how in the hell did y'all even like?
Yeah, how does that work? Like,
Anthony has his hand up.
So Michelle and I watched the first Black Panther a couple of days beforehand, and when we see him, Michelle goes, "Hey, he has on the wedding ring. I wonder who he's married to." It was literally like a day or two before we saw the movie.
I didn't see that coming.
That is funny.
Nobody saw this coming. This along with the other one that we're getting ready to discuss were two of the best kept secrets like in MCU. Like, how did they keep the secret? Like, I'm like,
did they keep the secret, or did they just say let them be married? I don't know. It just seemed like
her being in the movie
would be the secret.
Was a big reveal.
Okay.
Like her and him being married was even bigger. Like,
I just feel like they just kind of picked someone for him. So
no, I don't think that was random, especially with the fact that she has been introduced in Phase 4. I don't think that was random.
Okay.
I don't think that was random, because you have to think about it. We saw her at the beginning of Phase 4.
Right.
We're also seeing her now at the end of phase 4 because Black Panther Wakanda Forever is officially the end of phase 4 of the MCU.
But my question is, when we had Black Panther, when they had him married, did they know this was the direction they were going? Did they decide at the beginning of phase 4 that this was going to be his wife?
I'm going to say 2 words for you. Kevin Feige.
Okay. Well, it probably was on the board.
It was on the board.
He deserves a
On the
better
board.
wife.
He was on the
Yeah.
board. There was a post-it note in the far upper corner.
Right.
Yeah, upper right hand corner.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna be the guy, and I'm gonna say that I really didn't need most of Ross and Val in this movie.
I agree.
I think while I appreciated it, I feel like they could have done so much more with that time. Like I didn't need to see her arresting him, her sneaking to his kitchen and doing all the little smooth talk and saying, yeah, I knew I was snooping on you anyway, and then pulling handcuffs out of the kitchen drawer. I was like, oh, you know exactly where those were, huh?
I was just about to say, because my question was, you're in his house. You have snuck in his house and you're pulling handcuffs out of the kitchen drawer. Were those handcuffs already in the kitchen drawer or did you bring those with you? Either way it goes, considering that's your ex-husband, I have questions.
Right.
Also, you can walk him out. He doesn't have to be handcuffed. Okay.
Yeah. Also, I have another question real quick, Ant. I have another question. Is this the same Val that tried to kill Hawkeye?
No, it was no.
It is. I know because I know it's the same Val. I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, I have a theory that she's a Skrull. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think she's a Skrull too. But
yeah,
you know, but that's on Beyond Zebra.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think she was the one who. She wasn't trying to. Well, I know that she presented his information to Yelena.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's like she presented the information to Yelena. Was that supposed to have been after Falcon and Winter Soldier, after she recruited John Walker?
If you know,
it's like she could be. I'm pretty sure that she didn't try to put a hit out on Hawkeye when she was director of the CIA. Though it could have happened like that. I think that this happened before they made her director of the CIA.
I was gonna say her being director of CIA wouldn't have changed none of that.
No, it wouldn't.
That wouldn't have made any difference.
On Avenger is kind of dirty even for the CIA. That's still kind of dirty. Even with the Sokovia Accords, you still don't want to be like, you're a Black Widow. I need you to kill this dude. And what's his name's mother from Kingpin would not have had that connection to Val either. I wouldn't think. So that whole thing got me kind of convoluted. I was like, you know what? We could just done without all this. I felt like what's her name on She-Hulk? We're like, okay, just scratch all that.
First, if you know what we know about Secret Invasion, a lot of her decisions could be explained just for being a Skrull. That's number one. It's not really a spoiler because I don't think they're gonna go along with Secret Invasion for the most part because there's a lot of other stuff that's gotta be worked out.
Right.
First. And the other thing is, going back to She-Hulk, I know we haven't talked about it, but the whole scene where she's talking about y'all do these things in the movies for reasons. There's reasons because Ross is going to be with Okoye and what's her name in their show.
Oh, and,
yeah. So they sort of had to introduce him, and then you have to have Val in it because we're closing out phase 4, and she's going to be key in the next phase with the Thunderbolts and the Secret Invasion and all that stuff. Right. So they kind of had to do it here because there was nowhere else to do it. Remember, this is going back to previous conversations we've had. The people who only watch the movies need to have those threads for the next part. Because if they're not in the movies, and then when they pop up in the movies, then they have to spend a lot of time explaining why these people are in it and what they're doing. So for the people that only
That's
watch
what the shows
the
are for. Go
movies,
watch the show.
Right.
there are people,
Right, exactly.
there are people that are just not gonna, they're not gonna do that. There are people, the majority of the people are not gonna go watch the show.
I don't even know if we can say the majority now, because there are people.
Well, I won't say the majority, but
Yeah.
there's some that they'll watch some shows, but not all shows.
Mhm.
And then they'll just watch one particular show, and not anymore.
Mhm.
And then you have a group that's not gonna watch them at all. And
That's what I'm
you
saying. How you
still
can play
have
some
to
fan
have
can watch the shows.
some it fills out the world for you, and it makes it a richer experience.
Yeah.
But it's not necessary. You know what I mean? And so they put the thread of Val and Ross in there to kind of help those people when we go into the next phase, and they pop up in the movies, and we can kind of understand, okay, this is why they're there. Especially Val, because Val is important.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree with
where have we seen her in the movies? We've seen her in Black Widow.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So they won't have a point of reference for her
Mm-hmm.
if those people hadn't seen Black Widow, which
Wait a minute. And was it really the end, or was it an end credit scene?
It was an end credit
It was an
scene.
end credit
So
scene.
if they got up,
then they would
Look,
know who the fuck she is.
Look, I disagreed with you then when you said that they don't have to
Man,
watch the
disagree
TV
with me
shows,
now.
and I still disagree with you.
Me too.
If you're gonna bring stuff in from TV shows, people need to watch the TV shows. It's as simple as that.
I agree.
It's like,
But that's a whole other
I
conversation
know,
that
but
we are
I
not
know.
about
I
to
mean,
get
I
into that
know.
right now.
I literally know people who just watch the movies and have watched nothing on Disney Plus,
I don't understand.
and they're not
I
even
don't get
asking any questions about.
That's
I mean-
I think that's because those are probably the people who are just casual fans. They're just like, those are the fans that are like, oh, I'm just watching this movie because it's cool and I like it. They don't care about all the other stuff.
Hold on. Think for a second. Just use your rational brain and think for a second. Do you think there are more casual fans or more diehard fans?
oh, there's shit ton more casual fans.
Okay.
And I keep forgetting that we collectively
we get caught up in our heads and we start to think that everyone is a diehard fan like us, and they're not. Most people are casual fans, and most of them are not watching the TV show.
But then there's some in the middle who actually are dedicated, but to the movies. They understand there's comic books, but they're not on board with the TV series. They watch the movie. They watch the movie 500 times. They reference one movie. They can see the connections, but they are not watching the TV series.
I understand.
They can't even tell you the names of the TV series. They don't know.
I need to know where y'all are finding these people, because I have not come across any yet.
And y'all need to hang around better people if that's those people y'all hanging around.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
And also I get the fact that no one can be geeks like us. I mean, we're kind of one of a kind as far as, watching TV series, watching movies, and some of us like reading the comic books and stuff. I get all that. I totally get it. But it's visual media is easier than like watching media is easier than reading media. And it's like, if you can watch a show and have something explained to you, why wouldn't you do it?
Yeah, I mean I agree. That makes sense to us. Yeah,
I mean, we're not disagreeing, but
no, we're not.
They're just, I mean, and then there's some like a coworker I talked to today that they are watching the TV series because they know they have to keep up with what's going on in the movie, so they can understand what's going on in the movies, even though they're not liking the TV series or liking some of the movies, but they're watching it to make sure that they know how it all connects, so they're not missing out. Like they can't stand Doctor Strange. They don't care for Ant-Man, but they know they're going to see it because it plays relevance in something else in the future.
Who doesn't care for Ant-Man? I will beat somebody.
I was about to ask the same question. Like,
excuse me. Ant-Man is one of the most likable characters in the MCU right now. Doctor Strange, I can understand. He's not for everybody. But Scott, you can't do that to Scott. No, I will not allow it. Oh,
that reminds me of the one listener, I will not call him out, but who's like, he listens to our podcast, but he listens to it in sequence. He even listens to the shows that he doesn't watch because he doesn't want to miss anything that we talk about. Because he said the one time he skipped, he missed a reference, so he had to go back and he realized, okay, I got to watch them all. I got to listen to them all, even if it's a show I'm not going to watch. I just have to listen to it because I will get the references. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's true.
That's why he's fussing at me about finishing Shang-Chi.
Oh, God.
Goodness.
Oh, he's gonna kill us. That's funny.
He's gonna be like, "Oh my God, we love you."
That's my dog, man. That's the homie.
But okay, let's move on because there were some other things that happened in this movie that we need to talk about. Oh Lord, yes.
Baku and him walking into the throne room and his confrontation with the Okoye.
Yeah, with the carrot.
With the carrot, because of course they're vegetarians. But Okoye said, "Oh yeah, we should just kill the fish man," and she's like, "Yeah, you wouldn't have killed him. Your brain will still be there or whatever." And he's like, "You bald-headed demon." And Queen Romunda just points.
But he started off turning to the border tribe like, you should be fired. Oh, y'all should be fired.
Man,
like, how the hell y'all let this fish man with wings on his feet?
just casually walking in dissing people. It's like,
right. And then the border tribe start talking and they start.
And in the last movie, in the first Black Panther, it was a low frequency grunt. And in this one, it was a high frequency grunt. It's like, what happened?
He's nicer now. He's an ally now. He's not trying to take the throne. Okay, I will say this about M'Baku in this film. Seeing the development of his character going from, this outsider, this person who is like, I don't want to be a part of your, I don't want to be a part of your little group. I'm staying over here on the outside. Don't involve me in any of your politics. Don't involve me in any of your struggles. We have nothing to do with it. To see him go from that to being one of Shuri's like most trusted advisors and comforters. He tells her, I told your brother I would look out for you and I would counsel you. And he did. Like, even the time when she was sitting there, she was so angry and she wanted to basically burn the world. That was the phrase that she used in this film. He was there to talk her down, and he was never condescending towards her. He was never disrespectful towards her. He listened when she needed someone to listen to, and he offered counsel when he felt like she needed it. And then even at the point where she was like, I'm going to do this and you're going to help me and you don't have a choice, he didn't bulk up and be like, no, I'm not doing this or whatever. He was just like, okay, because I think he knew that eventually she would see what he was trying to tell her. And I just watching him and the way he was just kind of calmly diffusing situations. And then when it was needed, bringing the much needed comedy.
Yes.
He's one of my favorite characters. Like,
they called him Kulkulkan, the winged serpent.
Kulkulkan.
Right.
Oh, wait, y'all don't think we read books?
Right. Just because we up here. I was like, M'Baku is not here for y'all shit. He was like, y'all gonna stop looking down on us. We smart. We know some things. I loved him.
Yes, and I already start shipping for the future.
Oh, Lord.
Shipping who?
I won't say right now. because I don't want y'all to jump on me. All right, we carry on.
We won't jump on you.
Carry on.
Okay.
You already probably know who it is.
Shuri
I'm kind of
and
figuring
Baku?
it out.
Mhm.
No.
Wait a second.
Absolutely
I
not.
said later, not right now.
No. Even if we do
We
that,
have
we're not
comfort in
doing
each
that
other.
later. We're
No,
not
no,
doing that later either.
No,
absolutely not.
Michael. No, Michael. You give her ship, we give you yours. You take it.
Still.
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't see either one of those ships because all throughout the movie, I really thought Shuri was gonna end up with Annika. That's who I was shipping, and then they threw us the surprise curve at the end. Annika is with Io. I was like,
but they didn't know because when they were fighting on the what was it, the barge? What were they on?
No, they were in the outreach
at
center.
Molly. When she turned and she looked at her like, almost like, "Babe, I told you so." I guess because seeing it the second time around, they were making that eye contact.
Okay.
So
I was getting that vibe between Annika and Shuri throughout the whole movie. Just the way they interact with each other and the way that they talk with each other. I was like, is this gonna be a thing?
No, I didn't even.
I think I'm cool with this.
No, watching the second time, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Okay.
I saw her with her wife the first time. And I'm gonna say wife. It was her wife.
Oh, okay. Okay. Like I said, I thought it was gonna be Shuri and Annika, but I mean, either way it goes, I was just kind of like, I didn't see that in the movie. So when they finally showed it, I was like, where did that come from? Like I'm sitting here mad. She's supposed to be with Shuri, because that's what I thought was happening. But okay.
Yeah.
I guess I read that one wrong. Okay. But the other surprise thing.
Man.
So
surprise.
At the point where Shuri finally is able to create a version of the heart-shaped herb, and she's using some of the chemicals from the bracelet that Namor gave her because they have similar compositions. It's just that, they are on land and their stuff is on land. They had a version of vibranium that originated in the sea. And that was kind of sort of the key to being able to make this heart-shaped herb. So when she lays down and partakes of the heart-shaped herb, and she goes into the ancestral plane, she is hoping to see her mother to get advice about what she's supposed to do. So she walks in and she's in the little room and she sees the throne and she comes around and she's like, "Mother, is that you?" She comes around that corner.
Surprise, motherfucker.
And Killmonger's ass is like, "What's up, cuz? Hold up."
What's up, cuz?
Oh my God. The whole theater was like, yo.
Right. Literally, like I said, everybody had the same reaction. Like, what? Yo. I was not expecting Killmonger. I heard a rumor that they were going to bring his character back. And I was like, how are they going to do that? There's no way that they can act like he's dead. This is not, I already knew Black Panther was not about to take the multiverse route. I knew that wasn't happening. So I was like, how are they going to bring him back? It should have dawned on me that it was going to be in the ancestral plane. But again, Killmonger was kind of on the outside. Why would we think he would be in the ancestral plane?
Because we wouldn't have many choices of anyone else, to be honest with you.
That's
why I thought of it when we start seeing trailers, because if they did it respectfully, we wouldn't have a version of T'Challa, because I was like, that would be disrespectful. You can't have her father because that actor is not alive. At that point, I didn't know her mom had passed away yet. That was, that was new. That was a surprise. So I figured that would be the only person, but I couldn't figure out why would it be him. That's what I was always questioning in my mind, like, why would it be him? But it makes sense now because of what happened with her mom and what challenges they're going through.
Because of the
But-
conflict she was going through,
Right.
because she was angry.
Because
She
she's going to have
wanted
to see
vengeance.
somebody unless they had a panther with a voice talking to her, and that wouldn't have made sense. So I had read through all those dots, and it just led me to him, but I didn't know why though.
Yeah, because after the fact, like T'Challa was really into being the Black Panther and the history of it, so he would see the ancestors.
Mm-hmm.
Killmonger was focused on the vengeance for what happened with his father, so he would see his father.
But we
And
didn't
not
know
only
that she
that,
had vengeance in the beginning.
I'm just
too.
saying,
Yeah. So
I'd say after the fact,
Yeah.
you can kind of see why
Yeah.
it would be Eric.
and I did think about her uncle, but I'm like, she never met the
Sure.
uncle, so that wouldn't have made sense.
But the
That's
other
only-
thing too is you have to remember one thing that Shuri keeps reiterating throughout the whole movie. She doesn't believe in the ancestral plane.
Right.
She didn't believe in all of that stuff. So even when M'Baku is telling her stuff like your mother is still with you, she was like, my mother is gone. There is no part of her left here.
And even when Romunda was like, "Oh, I was on the beach and I could feel T'Challa's hand on my shoulder," she's like, "That was just a construct you made up in your mind to make you feel better."
Right.
Well, we should have known this would happen because Ryan Coogler does not make a movie where Michael B. Jordan does not star in it. You can look it up. He's in every last one of his damn movies. Second of all, I would like to just point out and remind you guys that wasn't actually Killmonger. That was just a manifestation of Killmonger in her mind. So Killmonger, while he is dead and gone, this is just a manifestation of what he represented. And we should have seen it coming.
No. That was the ancestral plane. They made it clear when they showed outside of the window, it was the same sky.
Yeah.
It is the ancestral
Just
plane.
like
And this is something that they're establishing in the MCU of the different planes of existence.
Mhm.
The other thing I wanted to mention, this sort of a side thing, is when you're talking about their version of the heart-shaped herb, which was another plant, their person, Namor's people, a god showed him where the plant was. The same thing with Bashinga for the Wakandans. Bast showed him where the heart-shaped herb was. And in Thor Ragnarok, was it Ragnarok? No, Thor Love and Thunder, we see Bast there. So Bast actually did. So Kukulkan was there as well. Well, it wasn't Kukulkan, it was the other one. Because they have two gods, but that if you go back, the feathered god was there.
I remember,
was also there as well. So we are seeing, we are seeing like they actually had an influence on these two people, which goes back to, I guess, what the God Butcher was saying. They've just been messing with stuff all this time. They don't deserve our worship. But
very, very interesting.
I also think that we should have seen Killmonger coming just from how Shuri was talking, because she was always talking about burning the world, and we we're always talking about how, like in the first movie, they said that the person who is not welcomed back by his countrymen, like he will be warmed by the fire that burns it down. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something that was said along that vein. Like, if you don't welcome someone back who was thrown out, they'll warm themselves by the fire that they set to your village or to everything that you have. So it's like there was a lot of references to burning the world, burning things down, and it's like we probably should have. It's kind of a long stretch, but it's still kind of in the same vein. Like, from Killmonger trying to burn things down, like there's still the thread of fire through both of them.
Well, we also have the Wakandans. Their vibranium is revolving around earth and fire, and then the vibranium with Namor's people is water and air, because he has the wings and he flies. So they have command over this water and air. Then Wakandans with their weapons that shoot like electricity, and then the fire, you think of forging metal and stuff, that's earth and I'm not trying to relate this to Avatar, but
I was thinking that.
So it's natural for them to want to be allies and
Mhm.
connected.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But I still think it's interesting how these gods, you know, this so happened that this vibranium hit Earth in two places, and it's just interesting to me. It almost makes me think it was intentional.
Well, I mean, if you when you think about it, it's like it's kind of impossible for one meteorite, one asteroid to hit, because when asteroids enter the Earth's atmosphere, and when it starts burning, it like crumbles. So
They
it's
break
like
up.
they
Mm-hmm.
break up. So there has to be vibranium other places. It just hasn't been discovered yet, or it's in a place where they can't reach it. Like there could be vibranium at the top of Mount Everest, or at the bottom of another gulch in the ocean, or somewhere in North Pole, in the South Pole. It's like it could be anywhere. So
Well, they
there
did
could be
find some.
vibranium deposits that have yet to be discovered as well.
Mhm. They found some with that machine, just a little bit. It was just a little bit right there. It was glowing.
But that was in Namor's territory.
Yeah, that was in Namor's
Yeah.
territory. That's
Okay.
why they
Right.
attacked.
Just a side note that I saw on a YouTube video, and I also saw it in this movie. In the first Black Panther, it talks about how and I forgot his name, the uncle, when Killmonger Eric went and saw his dad on the ancestral plane, his dad was still in the apartment, but there was bars on the windows, kind of saying that he's not with his other people in the ancestral plane.
Mm.
Okay.
Even though there's bars in those apartments, because it was bars on the apartment window, but it makes sense because you can also see the purple in the background. Well, if you look in the back of, you see the movie again, and while Killmonger is on the throne in the back, even though there's the panes on the window, they look like bars too, and that he's also not with any other person on the plane. So something to look at when you watch it again.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta go watch it again, because it's like, well, first off, once definitely wasn't enough.
Yeah, no doubt.
And two, I need to be able to pay attention to stuff like that now, because again, always the first viewing, I'm just watching for the story. I want to know what the story is that they're telling. When I watch it the second time, I'm looking for the things I missed the first time. And then, you know, after every subsequent view, you usually discover something new that you didn't catch the first few times. So yeah, I know I'm gonna watch this a few other times to catch those little details. But I'm trying to think.
The one other thing, when he was talking to Shuri when they were there, and basically saying, which was true, I feel like it was true, how everyone would have handled the situation. Her dad would have killed the scientist. I agree. Come on now.
Yeah.
If you could take your brother down, if you needed to save your people, you would have killed the scientist.
But you know what? He took the brother down not out of spite or vengeance. He was about to kill what's his name? Forrest Whitaker's character.
Right. And then you left his son to be alone on the streets.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so we're gonna go with, he probably would kill the scientist, and how T'Challa was a noble person, so he would try to figure something out, be, you know, okay, what should we do?
He would have done the noble thing.
Yeah,
he would have tried to find a compromise, a good compromise.
And she already knew in her heart what she wanted to do. She just wanted someone to back her up, and that's why she saw him.
We know what Eric would have done.
Oh yeah,
Eric would have killed the scientist and made an alliance.
And then try to
kill he was like, say less. We got this.
Right.
However, he made a point, like Queen Mother saved someone who wasn't even her child. She went out a hero. So no, Killmonger would have killed him too. He would have burned everyone down to the ground and took their weapons.
Eventually, I mean, he would have used them just like he did Claw. He would have used them to get to a certain point. Then he would have figured out how to kill him and would have killed him just so he could rule everything. I mean, that's how he is. That's who he is.
It's like the what if Eric just rolling along with it, and then at the very end, you're like, I got you, bitches.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. I do want to talk about the ending, but there are some other things we need to talk about. Oh, okay. So let's talk about Nakia. Because when we find her, Michelle, you perked up, then you like, hold up. Because when the Queen Mother goes to Nakia, is after Namor first shows himself to her and Shuri. And basically it's like, okay, so you need to figure out who this is that's trying to steal the vibranium. You need to bring them to me so I can kill them, or else I will come and I will come and tear Wakanda apart. So she goes to Nakia because she's like, okay, I need your help. I need you to find out who they are, where they are from. I need you to find out everything about them. And you're the best person to do this because you're the only person I trust. And you used to be a spy and this, that, and the other. So at this point, Nakia has been away from Wakanda for about 6 years. And she is living in Haiti now, and she's teaching in a school. And she didn't even come to T'Challa's funeral. And that was one of the things that Romunda said. She was like, we would have thought we'd have seen you at the funeral. And she was like, it was too much. I had to figure my own thing out, and she says this later on to Okoye. She was like, he was this to people. He was that to people. He was a son. He was a brother. He was your commander. She was like, he was my everything. And I had to figure out how to deal with not having that. And I was just like, make me cry again. But
to imagine he was gone for 5 years for her. Then he comes back and then
he's gone.
Dying. And you're like, shit, we just got you back.
That's it.
Which makes the end of the movie even more tragic, even though it's beautiful. And of course, I mean, we might as well go ahead and mention it. So at the end of the film, Shuri goes to visit Nakia in Haiti. This is after everything has happened. And, she has, again, we haven't mentioned this yet, but Shuri takes on the mantle of the Black Panther. And so afterwards, she goes to Haiti so that she can do the ritual that Romunda tried to teach her about healing and letting go. And Nakia is in the background. At first, she offers to go do it with Shuri, and Shuri was like, no, I think this is something I need to do by myself. And then afterwards, Nakia is coming down the hill and she's holding the hand of a little boy. And I was like, oh, they got a child. And so she does bring the child down to Shuri. And Shuri is looking like, are you about to tell me what I think you're about to tell me? And she introduces the little boy. His name is Toussaint. And she's like, this is your Auntie Shuri. Okay. So Shuri's looking like, what? Everybody was kind of like, oh. So Shuri's sitting here looking at him. And then Nakia, I guess she had a lot of questions like, oh my God, did my brother even know, blah, 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 blah. And Nakia says, we thought it best to keep him away from Wakanda or to raise him here so that he could grow up without the pressures of being the heir or being, royalty or being the prince. So T'Challa knew about this baby. And then she finds out that her mother also knew. And this is the thing that I think Romunda was going to tell Shuri before all hell broke loose. Because she had told Shuri, there's something I need to tell you. And at first, way back then, I was sitting here trying to figure out, like, what the hell could she have to tell her? Like, and I think if I go back and rewatch it, I think there was a conversation they had about succession and about the throne. And there was something that she said that kind of made Romunda look. And I think that's when she was about to say it. And I was like...
It was when they were on the beach during the ritual. And Romunda turned to her and said, there's something I need to tell you about your brother. And then that was when Namor popped up.
Okay.
But that's when the elephants made all the ruckus. And then they popped up.
You're right.
She was about to tell her then.
Yeah.
So she gets to meet this little boy at the end. And I know somebody else said this. I think it was one of y'all. But when she said, "This is your Auntie Shuri, can you say hi?" And he said, "Hi." Somebody
"Hey,
said they were
Auntie."
expecting him to say, "Hey, Auntie."
Who else? Who else would have said that? Hey, do we mention that Ramona saw Toussaint before?
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
did.
we saw it again the second time. He was the student that took her to Nakia.
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah, there was 3 kids,
Yes.
2 girls and a boy.
That was
He was
him.
the first one to run up, and then the other 2 came, and he was standing there grinning with his dimples.
Hey, Auntie.
And then he actually led her because the other 2 girls was holding her hand, and he was in front, and he was like pointing. There she is.
See, this is why I need to go back and rewatch
That's my granny.
the movie. But anyway,
Grandma.
so after all of this, while they're having this conversation, Nakia says to Toussaint, he says something about, Shuri being an excellent secret keeper. And he's like, "You can keep secrets well?" And Shuri's like, "Yeah." And Nakia gives him the go ahead. And he was like, "My name is Prince T'Challa. I am the son of King T'Challa." And I was just like,
yeah, Shuri asked her what was his name, and she said it in Wakanda.
in Wakandan.
Yeah, and he answered.
And I was sitting there like, that's how they're doing it. That's how they're gonna recast T'Challa without recasting T'Challa.
Right.
Still holding on to Chadwick Boseman's legacy and that T'Challa's legacy, but still leaving room for a new T'Challa to come in and be the Black Panther. I was like, oh, I'm down with this.
Yeah.
I was expecting him to pull his little lip down and have like the little neon stuff on his lip. I was like,
that would have been cool.
I would have been like, oh hell no.
That would have been cool.
So when we 75 and we watching like the 6th Black Panther, we're gonna be like, "Oh, we remember your daddy. Oh, you doing good, boy. You doing good."
We remember when you was just a baby.
Yes.
Because you the spin image. You the spin image. Look at you. Look at you.
They did get a good. They did do some good casting with that because that kid could
really did.
See they.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when your daddy was Jackie Robinson. Look at you now.
The other thing about that scene,
Yep, he was James Brown.
Yep. The other thing about that scene is that when she starts burning the funeral cloth, Rihanna's "Lift Me Up" starts playing. Now, I will admit, when I first heard the song, when it was released, I think it was last week, I listened to it and I was like, okay, I like it. But I wasn't all like gushing about it. Like I've seen some people who listened to it and started losing their minds. I didn't have that kind of connection to it, but I was like, okay, it's going to be in this film. It's going to be somewhere special. I was thinking it would be the funeral scene, but once they started doing a funeral scene, I was like, that song would not be appropriate here.
No.
They start playing this at the end while she's burning her funeral garments. And then they start showing flashbacks of T'Challa. That was it for me, because I have only watched Black Panther once since he passed. I cannot watch the film. I can't. It hurts too much. I can't watch any of the other stuff that he has been in. I can't do it. Having to sit there through that montage and then listen to the sounds of "Lift Me Up" come in, it broke me because I was like, this is the perfect scene for this song. And it makes so much sense. And it pulled everything I had in me. And I was just like, I'm sitting in the movie theater trying not to like just break down ugly crying. But I was just like, this is perfect. This is the perfect, and this was actually before the credits. This was the way that they ended the movie with this little tribute. Mm-hmm. It was the perfect ending. And then you meet Toussaint, AKA Prince T'Challa, the younger, in the mid-credit scene. I was like, okay, this is after that mid-credit scene, you know, people were like, oh, they didn't do a second end credits. What were you gonna do? How were you gonna top that?
Mm-hmm.
Just leave it as it is. It was perfect the way that they ended it.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually we will get another Prince T'Challa.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
The other interesting thing is, and we are going to talk about Shuri becoming a Black Panther because that kind of is important to the story. The interesting thing is, as she has taken the mantle of the Black Panther, it is very obvious, at least to me, that she does not plan to be queen. At least not at this point.
Not for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
Right.
Because she's coming, you know, they're at the
cliffs.
The cliffs. They look like they're preparing for a coronation. And instead of Shuri getting off of the plane, I forgot who got off or what got off.
M'Baku.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
M'Baku got off. And he wanted to challenge for the throne.
Yeah, she said she's not here today.
Yeah.
And I want to challenge her. It works because he could be ruling as king and she could be the Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
he can handle the day-to-day and she can go off and do.
Well, that's what T'Challa did. He was Black Panther and his daddy was king.
He passed the mantle to T'Challa to be Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So I like it. But let's talk about Shuri being the Black Panther. I know a lot of people were expecting it, so I wasn't surprised when it happened. I think the interesting thing about it was that she was more so about the vengeance than she was about being a protector in that sense. You know, like she still was the Black Panther. Okay, I need to protect my people. But her thing at first was she was pissed.
Right.
She was pissed.
Yeah.
She was like, oh yeah, I need to be the Black Panther because I need to be able to avenge all of this. And, you know, I think it was interesting because at first, when it was suggested, Romunda was talking about her trying to work on the heart-shaped herb. And this was after T'Challa's death, because I think after that, she kind of gave up on it. Because at that point, for her, it was like, what's the point? My brother's dead. The Black Panther is dead. It's done. And Romunda was like, just because he's gone doesn't mean the Black Panther is gone. The Black Panther can still live on. You know, that was why you would, I guess, trying to make the herb in the first place, because that is what the herb is used for, is to pass on powers to the Black Panther. And I love that she said, I wasn't trying to keep the legacy of the Black Panther alive. I was trying to keep my, you know, she wasn't trying to save the Black Panther as the legacy. She was trying to save her brother, the person.
In the Wakanda Files, which is one of the books, she actually talks about working on creating a synthetic heart-shaped herb. And one of the things she said was she was hoping that she could get a sample of he would give her a sample of his DNA. But now it explains why he was reluctant to ever give her any of his DNA, because I think he probably, this is my headcanon, that he knew that he was sick and didn't want her to discover it.
Oh, that would make sense.
And now it makes sense why he would, if he was for her trying to find the heart-shaped herb or make a synthetic one, he would have freely given his DNA for her to figure it out. But he didn't. And she was hoping that one day he would. And that's probably why he didn't give her any, was that he knew he was sick. And if she figured it out that he was ill, she would have been obsessed with trying to figure out how to cure him.
Right.
And the time that they spent together would have been nothing. It wouldn't have been. It would have been wasted.
Right. Kind of like it was at the moment of his death.
Yeah. That's what he was
Mhm.
trying to avoid. She wasn't there when he died.
Yeah.
Because she was obsessed with trying to find the cure.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that was my 2 cents on that. I just wanted to say the Wakanda Files that she knew she needed his DNA and she was actually working on it. It's just that she didn't have any breakthroughs.
Okay. That scene hurt. Oh, okay. I still feel like there's some stuff missing that we haven't really talked about.
There's
There's
a few.
lot.
Okay, y'all went to go see it a second time. Refresh my memory.
So, one, I just want to give a shout out that they changed the race of Namor from the comic books because it brought another group in, which is fabulous. And just love it. I love the how we have Wakanda Forever. They have
the Kamehameha.
Yeah.
Hadouken!
I was sitting there the whole movie expecting Goku to show up somewhere.
But I do like the Aztec thing.
Yeah, I do. That was fantastic. So, people have problems with that. There's some words you can say to yourself.
Who's that? Okay, you know what? Never mind. Let me not even ask that.
I'm just saying, if you have an issue,
the answer to that question.
If you have an issue, because this was perfect. Second, we didn't talk about some new costumes.
We got to talk about the Midnight Angels.
The Midnight Angels.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, yes.
Because they're getting the show.
Is that what the show is going to be about?
They're getting the show. Yeah. It's going to be them and Ross, apparently, supposedly. Also, I don't know what they're going to be doing. Okay. Oh, Mike knows.
Mike has a question.
There's a theory.
Okay, so piggybacking off the high that I'm still on from predicting that Echo would introduce Kingpin, the Midnight Angels, they're an elite branch of the Dora Milaje, and they are directly linked in the comic series Doom War to Doctor Doom. So that means that Doctor Doom is inevitable in one, either phase 5 or phase 6. As soon as they have it, he's gonna be here. Even though he's becoming the Mephisto of phase 4 and phase 5, because people thought they were gonna see him in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. They thought they were gonna see him at the end of Wakanda Forever. And it's like they're trying to see him everywhere. There is a direct link between the Midnight Angels and Doctor Doom. So that basically confirms that Doctor Doom is going to be here sooner rather than later. So
your theory is that after Kang rakes everything and everything's in shambles and they finally defeat Kang, that some dude from some small country is going to rise up and basically see an opportunity to take over the world.
I think that's sometime in between the time that they have Secret Wars and Kang Dynasty, we're gonna see Doctor Doom. We're gonna see him. It's inevitable. I don't think whether it's after when he tries to take over a broken world that Kang left behind, or whether it's during where he comes up where Kang is not looking and tries to snuff him. I mean, but I'm 100% positive that sooner rather than later, we're going to see Doom. And that's going to lead you. I mean, we might see him as a lead into the Fantastic Four, or we might see him in the Fantastic Four movie in 25 when they're supposed to come out. So I believe that we're going to see him sooner rather than later.
Wait. Did you just say you have a theory?
I have a theory.
Oh my God.
I have a theory.
Yes.
What?
I have a theory.
No.
Say that just a little bit louder because I want to make sure everybody hears it.
I have a theory.
Oh my God.
Yes.
This is a momentous occasion.
So
he's learned. Yes. Phase 4 is complete now.
Dr. Doom is going to be in Agatha's show.
I can see that actually.
Oh,
I can see that
theory.
Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about that too.
I haven't figured out.
I can see that.
Figured out how, but his thing is he combines science and magic.
Right.
And I think Agatha is going to be the key to that.
Oh, I like it.
I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
First phase 5 theory. Write it
I
down.
like it.
You don't know how my heart it's so full right now.
I like it. Look at you.
I actually like that. I like that.
That was freeing, and that was
Oh my goodness.
You feel how unburdened you feel?
That was
therapeutic.
Yeah, it was therapeutic. I feel much better now.
I'm so happy. But also going back to the Midnight Angels, I love how Okoye was just looking at it like, this is ugly. I'm not gonna wear this. Like going back and forth with Shuri. She's like, this is state of the art. She's like, it's ugly. Why is it gotta be so ugly? It was awesome.
I gotta say though, they look damn good in them.
They look good.
So I don't know much about the Midnight Angels. So educate me and other non-comic people who may be listening.
Okay,
Give us some background on the Midnight Angels.
Midnight Angels is to the Dora Milaje what the Rangers are to the Army, what the SEALs are to the Navy. They're like they're like special ops. They're like special ops Dora Milaje, but they're like the elite, like top of the top, like creme de la creme, like the best Dora Milaje.
Okay. Because it was kind of not sitting right with me that even after all of what they went through, all the fighting and everything, that Okoye was still not with the Dora at the end of the movie. Because I was sitting here looking at like, where the hell is Okoye? And then, of course, she shows up to rescue Ross as he's being transported to wherever it is that Val was about to transport him. And she has on the suit. So I was like, oh, okay. I was like, okay, so she's not part of the Dora in that sense, but she is, I guess, like she's one of the superheroes of the Dora. I was like, okay, I can get with that. I can get with that. Now, do the suits enhance them in any way? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So that means that badass Okoye is even more badass now. Okay.
Yeah. They're like Shuri's version of Iron Man stuff. Well, probably more like Peter's armor. Not
I'm down for it.
Yeah, not quite as advanced as Tony's armor, but it's got some stuff in it.
Okay. I'm down for it. Okay. So the other thing, let's go back to talking about Miss Riri Williams, because this chick is just building stuff left and right out of just
a box of scraps.
A box of scraps. She done built her own little Iron Man suit. Not once, but twice.
But it's easy to do in Shuri's lab. I mean, it is. You have
this is true.
Everything that you can possibly think of.
And that's why Shuri said, I can't let you take that with you.
Yeah.
All right.
You got to keep it here.
Yeah, but she already knows how to make one now. So
she can find some alternatives.
I'm saying all she has to do is tap into the barf at MIT, and then she can find Tony Stark AI in its own.
Anyway, I guess we kind of sort of need to talk about that fight between Shuri and Namor. Because they was kicking each other's ass.
And one thing I did like about that was that we already knew that he was high powered, and I wouldn't believe that she can actually take him down. But I love how they came up with a strategy to at least weaken him to get to a point to
where,
to do some damage.
Because M'Baku's like, he's as strong as a Hulk. You really want to fight this dude?
Right.
Yeah. So.
Right. And I mean, Shuri has some training, but she's no T'Challa.
Right, and still not godlike like him. So I like how they did that, where we got a strategy to help in this situation. They didn't full out like, oh, they're fighting and she can take him down. No, she had to do other things to weaken him.
I did find it funny that the strategy that they came up with and that worked was that they had to dehydrate him. Like, I'm dehydrated at least once a month. Like, this is what you do to defeat this super villain. Oh, okay. You're gonna dehydrate him, and then you're gonna fight him on a beach where he has no access to water. Y'all are gonna whoop each other's. Man, let me tell you, when he stuck that spear through her body, I was like, are y'all about to kill all of the damn family? But just, I really thought she was a goner. And then she saw her mother. And I was like, oh, okay. I was still at that point, not believing that Queen Mother was dead. But she saw her, so I guess she is.
And
but the way that she, I guess the way that she kind of talked herself down out of killing him, because she had him at her mercy. She was about to kill him. I mean, she done ripped off one of his wings off his ankle. He can't fly anymore. And I mean, she ripped the whole wing. She ripped it like from the root. I don't know if you can call it a root, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah. It wasn't just the feathers. She tore that shit out.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time to heal.
It's gonna take some time to heal.
What did Kelsey say? It looked like a chicken wing, bone and all.
Yeah, but the way that she kind of
Casey, I'm sorry, I said Kelsey. Casey.
Oh, Casey, yeah. The way that she kind of talked herself down to the point where she wasn't going to kill him. And she basically is like, look, we can't keep doing this. We have to be better. We have to do better. And then they come to the final battle scene where all of, the little bit of Dora and Wakandans that are on the boat are fighting the rest of Namor's people. They come in looking like, hey, we're a team now. Yeah, we know a lot of y'all just died, but
yeah,
I was just like,
but then I like how afterwards his second in command was like, what's this about? I mean, I would have fought with you to the end. Like, what's your plan?
She was mad. She was like, mad. I want blood.
Right, but then we realized he playing chess while the rest of us playing checkers. So go ahead.
Exactly.
I have a question. Did they already have a boat, or did they build that boat in just a few hours? I just want to know, like, where Wakandans get a boat that huge from, which has a sonic thing on the bottom?
I know that they created the sonic thing. And again, we don't know the time frame exactly, because I know he said he would give them a week or 2 weeks to mourn.
Right, but Shuri told M'Baku we leave in the morning. So I'm just wondering where you get that big ass ship from. But
they had it in the garage.
These are questions.
I mean, Riri was there with them. She probably built that shit. She found some scraps on the Wakandan grounds, and she was like, "Oh, are you gonna use this, Shuri? Oh, okay, let's throw this together." Yeah.
And don't nobody tell me that, there's a river runs through the mound and they used it to mine the vibranium that's underwater. I'm not gonna believe that BS.
Well, to be honest with you, it's probably one of their outreach ships, and they refitted it.
Ah, okay, I like that. Look at Michelle being on her P's and Q's tonight.
They had one in Maui.
I'll let you have that.
Yeah,
thinking outside the box.
That's one they outreach.
Okay.
That's why I didn't have no weapons.
Well, they did change some things around by adding the sonic at the bottom, but it's probably when they outreach the same.
You may have already had it on there.
For what reason?
To move.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Their technology.
Yeah. The other thing was, that we need to talk about really quickly because we are running over 2 hours now. The fact that they just sit here catching rides on orcas and whales and just
humpbacks.
humpbacks and just, yeah, let me catch a ride, dude. Oh, okay. I was just like,
Yeah.
I would like that skill. I would. And then also, I will say too, the way that they presented his underwater city, that was beautiful.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
But
So
I
much
was
better than
also at the
Aquaman.
same time like, you mean to tell me ain't no human found that yet? Like Jacques Cousteau ain't been in that part of the ocean yet?
No, because he's too far down.
He's too far.
You
Yeah.
can't go down there without a suit. So
No.
he's pretty fucking far down.
Was
Remember,
it?
they had to take the water slide
Yeah.
down there.
Oh, yeah.
It's
You're
too,
right.
and it took 2 water slides to get even further down. No.
Yeah.
You're right.
You know, it was like that those vents in Finding Nemo.
I was just
where the
about to
turtles
say
were out there
that
like,
too.
whoa. It's like, whoa. It's like, whoa.
And I don't think anyone would stumble across that and come back. Like,
You're right.
if you got anywhere near there, their patrol people would make sure you never made it back.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
No.
All right, I got to cut out early, guys. I'll see y'all later.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're
Sorry.
about to wrap this up anyway. So like I said, we've been going just a little over 2 hours. And I know there's probably some other things I'll think of once we're done, because there was a lot in this movie, but I think we got the gist of most of what we thought about certain things. Like we said, the real surprises were Ross and Val being married, Queen Romunda being killed, rest in peace, and Killmonger showing up. And then also baby T'Challa.
Yeah,
I think that was the most pleasant surprise of all. Like I said, I don't think I had I don't think I had anything to complain about with this film, except for the way that Queen Romunda treated Okoye. I was not pleased with that. I did not agree with that. Now, the performance between those two in that scene, yes, absolutely perfect. But that scene hurt my heart.
It did.
When she started begging, please, mother, I was like, don't do this to her. Don't do this to her.
And it wasn't like, please let me stay. It was, please let me die for my country.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when Romunda said, have I not given everything? I got goosebumps. When she said that and the way she said it, I was just like, there's really no wrong person. There's really no right person, because they both have valid arguments. But I felt like Romunda should have given Okoye a little more grace. Because again, you are fighting superpowered beings by your non-superpowered self.
Mm-hmm.
She should have been given some grace. And then after she found out that Shuri was there, Shuri was safe, and wanted to stay, wanted to go, wanted to try to talk to Namor to try to reason with him, she should have gone to Okoye then and been like, I made a mistake. I really feel like she should have done that, but it's too late now. Any final thoughts about Wakanda Forever?
No. Namor was excellent. And can't wait to see him again.
Yeah, are we going to see him again?
When?
I said, are we going to see him again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. He's one of the Illuminati, even though one of them dead now, but yeah, we'll see him again.
Oh, okay. Oh, I do remember hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That just made me happy.
Yes.
Okay. And I really feel like Namora is going to be a problem.
Yes.
Because she was pissed off that Namor had a truce with Shuri. And yeah, I think she's going to be a problem.
Yeah. I mean, he explained it, which made perfect sense, which made us realize he is playing chess. Well, we're playing checkers with him, because he's like, he has his plan on plan on plan. We thought it was just about the scientists. Then it talks about burning everyone down to the ground. And then now it's like, oh, they're gonna need us.
He turned it
They're gonna
into
come to
he
us.
turned it into a win-win.
Yeah,
Mhm.
He's
he
like,
did.
they don't have any allies.
Yeah.
We don't have any allies, but now we have each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So,
But yeah, Namor is going to be a problem.
mm-hmm.
She's going to be a problem. Okay. Well, I guess that is going to be it for our discussion on Black Panther Wakanda Forever. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. We have a YouTube channel where you can watch our videos. We have a Discord channel where you can chat with us, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.